Ian, imagine being handed the codes to the most devastating weapon ever created and having to decide whether to use it. That's exactly what happened to Harry Truman just 4 months into his presidency.
You know what's fascinating about that moment? IAN. He wasn't even briefed about the atomic bomb program when he was vice president. Talk about being thrown into the deep end.
Well, that's what makes his presidency so remarkable. Here's a guy who went from running a haberdashery in Missouri to making some of the most consequential decisions in human history. The atomic bomb, the Marshall Plan, NATO, these shaped the entire post war world.
Hmm. And he did it all with this remarkable straightforwardness. That desk sign of his, the buck stops here. It wasn't just for show, was it?
Oh man, not at all. Take the Berlin airlift. When the Soviets blockaded West Berlin in 1948, his advisors were pushing for military action. Instead, he came up with this incredible solution: planes landing every 3 minutes around the clock for 11 months straight.
The logistics of that operation were just mind blowing. You know, they delivered over 2.3 million tons of supplies, everything from coal to baby food.
Right? And there's this amazing story about one pilot, Gail Halverson, who started dropping candy bars on tiny parachutes for the children, became known as the Candy Bomber. It was like this perfect symbol of American soft power during the Cold War.
So, what do you think drove someone like Truman to make these huge world changing decisions with such confidence?
Well, I think it comes down to his moral clarity. Like with civil rights, in 1948, he desegregated the military by executive order. This is at a time when his own party still depended heavily on Southern segregationists. He knew it could cost him the election, but he did it anyway.
That's exactly what makes him so fascinating. He wasn't afraid to make enemies standing up for what he believed in. His approval rating dropped to 22% during the Korean War, but he never wavered from his conviction about containing communism.
And you know what's really interesting? His Fair Deal program, national health insurance, federal aid to education, public housing, most of it didn't pass at the time, but it laid the groundwork for so many later reforms like Medicare and the Civil Rights Act.
It's like he was decades ahead of his time in some ways, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And here's what's wild: he's the last president who didn't have a college degree, but he was this voracious reader of history. He understood the historical significance of what he was doing in a way that really shaped his decision making.
Well, that perspective on history must have helped when he had to make that ultimate decision about using the atomic bomb.
You know, that's such a crucial point. His military advisors were telling him a land invasion of Japan could cost up to 1 million American casualties and even more Japanese lives. He later wrote that he never doubted the decision, but imagined carrying that weight.
Hmm. And now, historians generally rank him among the most consequential presidents, even though he left office deeply unpopular.
That's what I find so relevant about Truman today. In an era where we often question our leaders' preparedness and integrity, he shows that sometimes the most important qualities are basic honesty and the courage to make hard decisions.
Like how he left office essentially broke. They had to pass a presidential pension law because they were embarrassed that a former president was struggling financially.
Exactly. No leveraging his position for personal gain, no lucrative speaking tours, just this fundamental decency that like seems almost quaint today. But when you look at the institutions and policies he put in place, NATO, the CIA, civil rights progress, his impact is still shaping our world.
So, in the end, PP, what do you think is Truman's most important legacy?
Well, Ian, I think it's showing that in times of crisis, what matters most isn't necessarily experience or eloquence, but having the moral courage to make tough decisions and take full responsibility for them. That buck really did stop with him, and the world is still better for it.